stylish, cool, A-list.
Hello guys, welcome to my first ever JavaScript video tutorial. This video tutorial was partly brought to you by View Network. So right now, since this tutorial is based on JavaScript. The HTML is done already, the CSS is done already. You can just come and edit it to put your own styles or whatever you want, but it has already been done already. So now all of these codes of HTML and CSS, you will find it in the website link below this video. So unlike other video tutorials, all we give you here is just the HTML and the CSS code. As for the JavaScript code, for you to learn more, you will have to follow the tutorial. So let's see how the page looks like. Let's open the live server. This is how the page look like with the HTML and CSS structuring. So when I click here, I will definitely want this number to be increasing by 1, going upward. When I click here, I want this number to be decreasing by 1, going downward. That's negative value, positive value. When I click on reset, it should come back to 0. So let's see how we'll do that magic. Generally, we have a span here, a span with an ID of value. So this span is going to help us to access our main number we want, our main element, or our main value that we want to access. So we have a bunch of 3 buttons right here. So these 3 buttons each have the same classes. I set double classes to it. The first class is decrease, second class is button and receipt, third class is increase. There is a reason why all of these buttons have the same btn class. So what I want to do here is I want to iterate all over these 3 buttons and then give them different functionalities. Let's see how the magic is going to work. First of all, let me open my HTML to the side. Let me close this. Okay, the first thing I want to access is the value. The value has an ID. For you to access an ID in JavaScript, I'm going to declare a constant. I'll give it a variable name of value. Say document dot get element by ID. Now what's the ID there is value. So the next thing I want to access is the buttons. The buttons have the same class, so I'm going to use here const btns. I'm accessing all the buttons at once. That's the magic. The query selector all. So when you use query selector all, it iterates all over the 3 buttons. So dot, I'm accessing the HTML, the CSS element of the button btn. So generally, let's see how. Let me console.log. Let's see console.log. Let me console.log btns, so that you see clearly how this is. So I'm going to open my console. As you can see, we have a node list. That node list is because we use query selector all. Is selecting all the 3 buttons. As button 1 is almost like an array. So button 1 has a CSS class of btn dot decrease, second button, third button. So all of these buttons, they are appearing on the same node list. I wouldn't want that. So what I want to do here is I'm going to comment this. We have selected all the buttons, so now I want to put the buttons separately. So I'm going to use for each function. I'm going to give it variable right here, so I call it an object. So for each function btn Okay, let's see. btn dot add event listener. Listen to the click event. I love arrow functions. Listen to the click event e. First of all, let's comment this first. Let's see what this is going to do. So this btns, for each function btn, this btn is like an object. So now I've separated and I've iterated all over the buttons, so the buttons are appearing on different locations. So let me show you how. Let's console.log this btn right here. I'm console.logging this. I'm logging this to the console. So let's see how this magic is done. So you can see on the console each of the buttons are independent. Before let me show you what we had before, so you can see again. So before we had just a node list, and this node list will contains all of these elements. No, it is iterating all over the elements. So just like an array, that's the first button has a value of 0, third button has a value of 1, second button has, just like that. So now we have iterated. It's like declaring an array and making the elements of the array to display independently. So if I comment this and then I kind of uncomment this, let's see what will happen. Look how it's locked to the console. Oh, sorry. Okay, we can see clearly what is locked to the console. We have the different buttons appearing independently. That's buttons for decrease, buttons for reset, buttons for increase. It's no longer in a node list. So let me comment this. Let me uncomment this. So generally I have given an event listener to the buttons. So this event listener is going to perform a function for me. So this is what I want to do with the event listener. So console.log, I'll take this variable I've set up here. You can set any variable. You can set banana, you can set orange, but for convenience purposes I prefer e. So e dot current target dot class list e dot current target dot class list. Let's see. Sorry. Let's see, that contains, let's put. So now I want to be accessing the elements one by one. So now let's see if the current target dot class list dot contain, that's the class. If the class contains, let's put the first one, decrease. If it is possible that it contains decrease, is going to console is going to log in true in the console. So now let's see what it logs in the console. So let's see, it logs in true. So that means we have a class list called decrease. So if I put any random number, look how it's going to log to the console, false. So so you see the false right there. So I think this is a better approach to solve that problem. So now I would want to cancel this. I want to set the condition if it contains this decrease. So we're going to be counting minus. We're going to count minus. Okay, I want to start with increase first. I love to stay consistent, so I love to start with increase first. Count minus. Remember, JavaScript, you can put the semicolon at the end, but at times you can put it because it's not really that necessary for you to put it. It's just for presentation. So now let's see. I'm going to set the value. I'm going to access the value, the text content. I'm accessing the value. I'm accessing this value. That's I'm accessing this span in order to lock what I have here. So increase, I'm counting plus plus, incrementing plus 1 equal to text content equal to counts. Remember I already initialized counts right up. Okay, sorry, I was supposed to initialize count right up here as a global variable. So counts, the initial value of count is 0. So now let's see. If I click here, what do you expect? If I click, it increases number by 1. The codes are quite simple. So I would want to click here and the receipts. I want to click here, decreases. So now let's see. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it right here. What I'm going to add here is an else. I'll use a nested loop. Else if current target that contains decrease, I'm going to count minus minus. It's quite simple. So when I click here, continuously keeps counting down. So let's see, when I click here, something should happen. So I'm going to do a little bit of a cheat code right here. So once I put in else, so if it contains this and it contains this, what is the left out option? The left out option here is receipt. So this else is going to take for the receipt option. So now let's see, else count is equal to 0. Let's see what happens. Once I go down, I can reset it to 0. Go up, I can reset it to 0. The next magic I want to do here is I would want that while all of these things are working, the colors, that's once I click here and it keeps increasing, I should see a green color right there. So when I click here, I should see, maybe once it's negative, I should see a red color right there. So now let's see how to set that. So if I put another condition that if count is greater than 0, what I'm going to do is I'll take the value, the style, the display, I want to take the color equals to green, when it is greater than, it should be green. So you can see once I click here, look at what happens. The color changes to green. Very simple project. And I want to do same for when it is less than. So rather I'm going to do multiple if functions, no longer what we were using, if else nested loop. So it nested if else. So yeah, I want the color to change back to this color. I would want the color to change to red, which it should be this, less than. So let's see, receipt, I decrease. Oh sorry, I initialized instead of comparing. So this is an initializing operator and this is a comparison operator. The comparison operator has double equal to, so I'm comparing count and 0. So let's see, if I reduce, this is what I see. Increase, this is what I see. And once I receipt, this is what I see. And hooray, we're done with the project. So you can see we use 31 lines of code in order to create this amazing project. So I'm going to be coming up with amazing project with my team, my Vidash team, and we are going to be posting back to back for you to see. Thank you. And remember, if you want to get the style and you want to get the HTML, you can visit our website by clicking the link below. And the JavaScript, remember that the JavaScript isn't there. So if you want to know the JavaScript, if you want to write a JavaScript, you need to follow our tutorials very pretty well. So thank you. Remember, follow Vidash Network. We're going to be posting back to back amazing projects. So thank you.